Is the sheep preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore? If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf the violent one? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop him. Do whatever you have to do to stop him. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate. He's violent.
Okay. So they will be joined as one flesh. Okay. A lot of people use that as well in saying what they're saying. Wherefore they are no more twine, but one flesh. But therefore Yah have joined together, let no man put asunder, let no man separate. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why, if a man is committed to a woman, right, but he has multiple wives, but this one he's been with longer, right, and he's been more committed to her, and he takes a position of leadership, of course he's not going to separate from his other wives because he's been put in position of leadership. It's not going to happen, right? Because whatever Yah's joined, let no man put asunder, right? But in fact, like it says, it cross-translated into the Greek, the word one means he knows. He knows is how you pronounce one in Greek. And then the definition is at least one, first, one. Also another translation. Yeah, those are also other translations for that word, he knows in Greek, which is one. Okay. All right. So that's another one that people are misusing often, right, in regards to this particular marriage style. Does this verse ban polygyny? Of course it does not. No. Jesus is just quoting Genesis 2:24. That's all he's doing. He's just quoting 2:24, Genesis 2:24, which establishes that a man joins his wife, right, as one flesh. It is not condemning or banning polygyny based on what he's saying. However, one flesh does not mean, right, numerical. Okay, it does not mean that, right. There's a numerical limitation to it. Okay, it does not say that there's a limitation, because of course if there were, then Jacob, it would be explicitly stated in some of these texts. Okay, so there's no real numerical, limitation here, right? It's just saying that they become one flesh, as to where Jacob became one flesh with Leah, and then he became one flesh with Rachel. He consummated a marriage with both. They both were considered singular wife. You understand what I'm saying? Not wives, not sister wives, just wife. In the Old Testament, polygynous men like Jacob, like David, like Solomon, you know what I mean? He's the most profound one, because he's the real reason why there needs to be stipulations, because his heart was not perfected in the Most High, and his heart was pulled away from Yah based on how many wives he had. Right, they pulled him away from the Most High. But also in the same text, as we already read, that he said that David, King David, his heart was perfected, meaning his heart was never pulled away from Yah, but he did have multiple wives. And the reason why his family went through all this turmoil is because of his sin of adultery. He committed adultery, and Nathan, the prophet Nathan, prophesied that he would bring chaos into his home based on his sin of adultery. Not the sin of not to say that polygyny was a sin, not lust. It was adultery that was the problem. You understand what I'm saying? In which, of course, lust influenced the adultery, because Bathsheba, she was a beautiful woman, and he wanted to lay with her. So that's what brought about that sin. That's what brought about that chaos within the family, was because he committed adultery. Not for no other reason. It wasn't because of his lifestyle of polygyny. Because you say it influenced lust. You can say it influenced lust, but also you can say monogamy influences lust too. Because there's people out here who are lust filled and they're monogamous. It doesn't cure it. You know what I'm saying? Monogamy does not cure lust. It's not an antidote to lust. In fact, if anything, a lot of men who are monogamous it would not, it would make it worse. Lust would be worse, right? Because of course most of them, they aren't faithful. They will step out, right? And that's the biggest thing. So like it will even increase lust on both ends, not just man, but also women. Both ends, it'll increase lust in a monogamous space. You understand what I'm saying? Um, whereas to where, of course, polygyny, in that space, a man can be able to tame a spirit of lust. And a woman would be a little more focused on the household because she wants to play her role. She wants to be sure that her position isn't compromised in any way with the man that she loves, and it keeps things a little bit interesting. Let's be honest. It keeps things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more on your toes. You know what I mean? You're going to be a little bit more looking to please the man that you're with. You know what I mean? Things like that. So it'll be, that's just kind of a lot of times what happens. If you're dealing with the right women. Especially if they got fear of Yah. All right. Let's see. All right. So these are some of the biggest things, right? All right, so with Paul, okay, Paul said what? Paul said when he talked about marriage, we kind of went through that extensively, but yeah, of course, no. This command applies only to bishops. Like when he starts to speak about a bishop should be a man of one wife. We broke it down. We know that henos is the word in the Greek for one, which means at least or first or one. You know what I mean? Those are all definitions for henos or for one in the Greek. So we can translate that to that, but also he's only speaking to people that's in leadership, bishops, deacons, things like that. People that are leaders, that's who he's speaking to. So let's not try to spin it and apply it to everyone. He's only talking about people who are who's taking a position of leadership. Okay, let's keep it. Come on now, we gotta keep it where it's supposed to be in its proper context. We can't add to the word. We can't take away from the word. It needs to stay within its proper context. He's speaking to if they want to hold a position of bishop, a leadership role. Okay. So we're adding to the word if we start to try to apply to other individuals outside of the bishop role. And this is a letter from Paul. So this is not scripture. This is just a letter from Paul to the Corinthians. Okay. That's about it. And he's explaining it to, like I said before, to Greek individuals, to Roman individuals, how to conduct themselves in Israel with a society that is mostly monogamous in Greece, with a society that's mostly monogamous in Rome. These aren't Hebrew culture societies. These aren't Hebrew churches. They're not coming from Israel. You get what I'm saying? They're literally in a Greco-Roman era. So it doesn't really apply. He's not going to argue the points of polygyny with these individuals, right? Because they may not be there, but he's going to tell them what the circumstances, stipulations are if you want to hold a position of leadership. Okay, and this is what they're asking for. So let's keep it in its proper context. If monogamy were required for all, okay, why would Paul single out church leaders? Okay, why would he single out the church leaders if it's applying to every man, to every woman? He's singling out the church leaders because he's just giving them a basic guideline as to what is required for somebody to take a position of leadership. Let's stop adding to the word. Let's keep it basic. You understand what I'm saying? Let the word define itself. Don't add, don't take away. And we can say, oh, a man in its fallen state. But once Adam and Eve were put out of the Garden of Eden, we were automatically already in our fallen state. The fallen state of man started when they were disobedient to Yah, right? And then that through that disobedience, would you say that Cain and Abel happened because of that disobedience? Right? Would you blame Cain and Abel on polygyny? You understand what I'm saying? But we still practice it even after that fallen state from Adam and Eve. Let's not cut it off anywhere. Let's go all the way back to Adam and Eve. That's the true fallen state of man. After Adam and Eve, it was documented well that polygyny was a thing, and it still can be documented well today, right? If we do the right paperwork and file it in our appropriate counties with the county clerks. So, but let's not say that, because we can't say it due to the fallen state of man. Due to the fallen state of man, we fell at Adam and Eve. So, fallen state of man, we fell at Adam and Eve. That means that we should not have been able to practice polygyny past Adam and Eve. There shouldn't have been no polygyny. You get what I'm saying? But of course, polygyny was an abundant thing. But there's examples as to what we should not do in those marriages or spaces. You know what I mean? King Solomon would be a prime example, but King David is not. He's a prime example as to why you shouldn't commit adultery. He's not a prime example as to what would be wrong in a space of polygyny. You understand what I'm saying? Because his heart was perfected, as we already read, right? His heart was perfect for Yah, right? Because he didn't never turn his love or fear from Yah. Those women didn't deter him from Yah. Where Solomon, they did. Okay. The church history, right? The Roman influence, right? The Roman Empire was monogamous. That was a monogamous empire, and that's what they claim, right? But they was not monogamous, of course. You know that they were a lot of boy lovers there too, right? And of course they would be fornicators. You know what I mean? So we can say that Rome was a monogamous empire just based on its I guess social norms. Okay, much like here in the US, it's the same shit, right? You would say monogamous, but truly you're not, because you got multiple partners. You understand what I'm saying? That's not monogamy. That's a secret polygyny type of lifestyle. Okay. But but they were the social norms for the Roman Empire during that time was monogamous, and for the early believers, and that's what they adopted. Okay, now the Greek as well, same thing with the Greek promoted, right? They promoted monogamous ideas, and they influenced a lot of the early believers as well. You understand what I'm saying? Catholic, the same thing. The Catholic Church, these are all different. Uh, way different from Hebrew culture. You understand? These are different cultures who are doing a monogamy space, right? Let's be honest. It's historically proven that they weren't very monogamous people. Okay, they just, the status quo, the social norm was monogamy. Okay, so if we're keeping it a buck, right? Now they didn't discourage the polygyny, right, to align. Um, So the councils they discouraged polygyny to align with Roman law. Okay, the Catholic Church discouraged polygyny to align with the Roman law, much like how we got it here. Like I said, America is just another form of Rome. You know what I mean? It's an extension of Rome. You think the Roman Empire died? No, it's just transformed. It's called the United States of America now. You get what I'm saying? We keep their calendar, we keep their time zones, and we keep a lot of their traditions. You understand what I'm saying? Like Christmas, Easter, Sunday, things like that, and as well as monogamy. You know what I mean? So those are all Roman in nature. You get what I'm saying? The Roman Empire didn't die, it just transformed. Okay. And of course the Catholics, they also lined right up with that as well. You understand what I'm saying? So okay. How does polygyny compare to modern Christian marriages? Okay, so how does polygyny compare to modern Christian marriage? Now, biblical polygyny, right? The common, the common among righteous men. Okay, it's very common among righteous men. Righteous men like Abraham, Jacob, and David. It was common amongst these men, right? Righteous men. And like I said, we just read that David's heart was perfect to Yah, right? It didn't turn away. Polygynous lifestyle did not turn him away from Yah, but it did turn him away from his son. It did turn his son Solomon away from Yah. So that was the problem. Okay. All right. So it was seen as a way to actually grow a family legacy, but that's one of the biggest reasons why They don't want you practicing it in the Western society, Western cultures, where they really promote um, isolation, right? Domination, and and dependency. Okay, so they want you to be isolated from each other. They want to be able to dominate you, right? And they want you to be dependent on them for your resources. But if you're practicing this lifestyle, then you would have a large family, right? And which you could literally have each one protecting each other, building a legacy, building this family that could honestly go against all of those three things, right? The isolation, the domination, right? If you got a powerful family unit, then it's really difficult to dominate that. Just as where Jacob formed all the tribes of Israel, which became a dominant culture in society. We dominated during those times. You get what I'm saying? He was blessed, and the Most High blessed those bloodlines. So we dominated during those times, and there's the reason why, right? Because if you grow that, it's over with. They can no longer isolate you, dominate you, and also uh, make you dependent. You get what I'm saying? They can't do that, right? Unless they cause division in your family, and that's something totally different, right? Require financial provisions and equal treatments. Exodus 21:10. You understand what I'm saying? That's one of the biggest things as well. Allowed but not commanded. It was allowed, but it wasn't commanded. Like you didn't have to, but it was allowed. It was an option for you to do in the Bible. Okay. All right. So modern day believers in monogamy expected as only legal and moral standard. It's the expected only legal and moral standard, right? It focuses on romantic companionship, okay? Often based on love, compatibility, and emotion, which a lot of that stuff is very dangerous. You understand what I'm saying? A way to form a relationship, but it can be right. It can be very. But this is what it is. This is the status quo. It wasn't there is no real boundaries. There's no real structure because of course, biblical polygyny are during those times it was more structured. Now, a man would take and consider to take on this woman as a wife if it made sense, not only like physically, maybe he was attracted to her, but economically, it made sense. You understand what I'm saying? Economically, it made sense. Status, societal status, right? It made sense. Like if she's a queen or a princess, you know what I mean? They would make a decision to take her on as a wife just based on status. You get what I'm saying? But nowadays, of course, it's all based on love, compatibility, and emotions. You get what I'm saying? A lot of times, of course, with biblical marriage, it was also based on resources, you know what I mean, financial provisions, and things like that. Not so much based on the feelings and emotions, let's say that. Taught as the only acceptable form of marriage. I wonder why that is. And it is taught as the only acceptable form of marriage. It's Greco-Roman in nature. It's not. It isn't a part of any lifestyle or community that is melanated. Right. It's all a part of Greco-Rome or Greece, Rome, things like that. Catholic. Both models. Both of these models can work. But yeah, both of these models could work. But it's all built on just faithfulness, right? Faithfulness, righteousness, and leadership, right? Leadership in both of those categories. Now, depending on what type of man you are, you would know which category you fit in best. You get what I'm saying? It just depends on who you are. So I don't knock someone who wants to practice monogamy. I don't knock it. Do your thing. I think that that's fine if that's what fits you. You get what I'm saying? But if you're a type of man who is a polygynist, right? You know, I don't know if it's like you get a kick out of the secrets or whatever it may be, but either way, if you're that type of man, then you need to just be openly practicing polygyny. You understand what I'm saying? We have a healthier society that way with less, potential issues, right? Can polygyny work for modern day believers today? Honestly, with the legal issues and things like that, if you understand how to navigate around the legal issues, then you'll be just fine, right? Um, but legal issues is something that definitely is a thing, but it also was a thing in Rome, right? Romans had the same legal issues when it came to polygyny. They were more of a monogamous culture. That's the reason why the West is not, an Eastern culture type of country. You get what I'm saying? Whereas to where most melanated people come from the East. So let's be honest about that, right? Social challenges, right? Some of the social challenges, many of believers, right, who may be in society, they may be judged based on practicing polygyny, right? They may even be rejected in certain communities. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, this would make it difficult to do certain things. Now, that would be a challenge, right? A social challenge. But also a perk for social, right? Is, people are pretty interested in that type of lifestyle. It also develops a more healthy relationship balance, right? Children tend to be a little bit more happy. They got more people they can go to if they want to go to them, right? And this is all statistically proven that, in those types of homes, it's a little more balanced, right? It's a little bit more joy there, because of the fact, especially for the children, that they have more than just one or two people to go to, right? They got more people they can talk to, and we all have different personalities, so it can fit a certain personality, like words to where a child might really enjoy to talk to maybe, dad or, whatever, in asking about how to solve certain problems or certain issues. But when, the child may want to feel some sort of form of love, right? Or whatnot, then they'll go to their mother, right? And then if they want to hear a story or want to just chat, want to just kick it and chill, hang out, they may go to one of the sister wives that they usually do that with. But that gives them more of a dynamic to be able to pick and choose on how they want to build their own self-confidence and personality, right? And that's one of the biggest things that the researchers have proven. All right, so now, yeah, I think that, okay, so let me just dive a little deeper into David's sin, okay? David's sin, okay, and we're gonna be able to find that over in Second Samuel 12:9 through 10, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and go over there. David's sin, because that was mentioned, that was made mention of, and I want to dive deeper into David's sin. So Second Samuel, where is he at? Where he at, Sam? There he is. Second Samuel, not Second Samuel 12. Second Samuel 12. Mm. Second Samuel 12. Whew. All right. That's gonna be a premiere. All right, Second Samuel 12. For thou didst it secretly. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Elohim, against the master. Um, and Nathan said unto David, the master also have put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Okay. Thou shalt not die. You shall not die. You put away the sin, thou shalt not die. Thou was killed. Okay, Second Samuel 12. Oh, 12:9. All right. Wherefore hast thou despised the commandments of the Elohim? to do evil in his sight. Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite. I know I butchered that. With sword, and has taken his wife to be thy wife. He's talking about Bathsheba, and has slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house. There's going to be chaos in this house now, because thou hast despised me and hast taken the wife of what? Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. You understand what I'm saying? This is singular. I even worried about the other wives. You know what I mean? That David has. This is singular. You taking them. You slain this man, the Hittite, and you taking his wife. You understand what I'm saying? So that sword shall never depart. This is the true reason why David was having issues in his marriage. You understand what I'm saying? You got to make this very clear. Is because he murdered, or he killed this man, Uriah the Hittite, and he took his wife. Okay, that's the reason why he disobeyed, Yah, and did so in doing so. Okay, that's why the sword never departed. Right, the sword shall never depart from thine house. He didn't say nothing about the other wives. He didn't say nothing about polygyny. He didn't say nothing about him having multiple wives. This is the reason why he had issues, right? He didn't say nothing about lust. He said that he murdered this man and took his wife. Okay. Now you can say, oh, polygyny is the reason why he did it. You can say it all you want. You know what I mean? But in a monogamous space, it would still be an issue if it was lust involved. You get what I'm saying? So my thing is that we can't say that because the text don't say it. If the text said that the issue was because he had multiple wives, right? Or he was practicing polygyny. If it said it here in the book, then yes, that would be true. But since it does not say that explicitly, it doesn't directly say the reason why he fell upon lust and all this other stuff is because he had multiple wives, and he lusted after Bathsheba because he practiced polygyny. It doesn't say that, so we can't add that to the text and thinking that it'll be okay to do. Okay, we can't add it to the text and say, okay, yeah, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Now, okay, so that'll do. All right. All right, so and then we're gonna finish this up here with this one. All right. Now, of course, that was just a part of Nathan's the prophet Nathan's prophecy. It wasn't about anything else. He didn't put a curse on David. Okay, he didn't put a curse on David. He didn't curse David. He just told him that this was the judgment coming from the Most High Yah. You understand what I'm saying? But he didn't curse him. He didn't curse his house. He didn't do any of those things. Okay. He said that the sword should never depart because thou hast despised me, right? Because the house this is Yah talking, right? This is Yah speaking through the prophet Nathan. Okay. Because thou hast despised me and has taken the wife of your uh the Hittite to be thy wife. You understand what I'm saying? Thus saith the Elohim. That means that Yah has said this. This is what he has said. You understand what I'm saying? So, since that's the case, we know what's up, right? Since that's the case, we know what's up. You understand what I mean? That the Most High Yah has said that this was the judgment for him, that the sword shall never depart from his home, meaning there'll be chaos in his home, okay? Because he committed adultery. Behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house. Okay, he's going to raise up evil against him out of his own house, and I will take thy wives. Now he's saying it plural before thine eyes and give them unto thy neighbor. Okay, and he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son. Okay, so honestly, he's not condemning polygyny. He's even promoting it even further and saying he's going to take David's wives and give them to his neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, look, we're finna give your wives over to your neighbor. For thou didst it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel and before the sun. So that's the biggest thing, is that he wanted to put the fear into the people as well, so that they did not do what King David did. And David said unto Nathanael, I have sinned against the Elohim. And Nathan said unto David, the Elohim also have put away thy sin. Thou shalt not die. Okay, thou shalt not die. Howbeit, because by this deed thou hast given great. So my thing is this, right? So he's saying through the deed, okay? So through these deeds, of course, he has brought upon this judgment, okay? And he's blasphemed the father. He's blasphemed Yah, right? And that of course the children also that is born unto thee shall surely die. And that's some of the things that he's speaking, that Most High Yah is telling him this is the judgment, okay? This is his judgment that he's passing because David disobeyed him when he told him not to take Bathsheba. He told him not to do it, and he did it anyway. Okay. So of course, you got autonomy, you got free will. Even though that Yah told you not to, you can still do it, but then there will be a consequence, right? So those are some of the things that I really wanted to touch on, because I heard some things that was like a little off base, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that don't make any sense. Like, I don't, a lot of this stuff we're looking a little too deep into the scripture, right? We're kind of taking it out of context, and we're adding a little bit onto it, and which we should read it for what it is. If you're reading the letters of Paul, a lot of things he was instructing them on how to do certain things, especially if he's telling them something about leadership. He's instructing them on how to pick leaders, how to do certain things. Let's keep it at that, and let's not apply it to everybody, because he didn't mean it for everybody. Let's also understand the context of the era that they lived in, especially if you're going to use Paul and you use Paul's writings to be able to condemn polygyny as a marriage style. If you're going to do that, then you have to also take in account that they were in the Greco-Roman era, and he was writing to people who were from Rome and Greece. You understand what I'm saying? So their societies were morally monogamous. So we got to take that into account as well. But we didn't live during those times to understand why he was writing these letters. You understand what I mean? We didn't live during those times. He was speaking to those who already knew the law. And if you say that, of course, you got to abstain from eating pork and shellfish and things like that, right? And that has carried over from the Old Testament to the New Testament. Then so has relationship styles and things like that. The only thing that has not, continued on after the death of the Messiah is the law of sin and death. And that's been explicitly stated, that the law of sin and death is something that has been nailed to the tree with Messiah. So, but that's it. Nobody's ever spoken against it. And Jesus was only mentioning Genesis, okay, and referring to Genesis, I believe 2:24, when he was speaking about one man, one woman becoming one flesh. He was just quoting it. He was just reciting what was in the Old Testament. You understand what I'm saying? We can't put a little spin on it and think that he's commanding you to do something because he's recited that. We can't also say there was a falling state of man after Jacob or after whoever, right? Based on whatever, because it's that falling state happened all the way with Adam. Okay, it happened all the way with Adam and Eve. They fell from grace from Eden. Okay, from the Most High's grace. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is that they shouldn't have been practicing polygyny all throughout the Old Testament either. We can't say that modern times we can't do it because we can't keep track. Yes, we can. With covenant agreements, of course, you can take those agreements, put it into a trust, and file it in your local county. File it in your local with the county clerk, and then that stands just like a marriage license would stand. Only thing that would be a challenge is if they're trying to go get benefits and privileges from the state. Then you'd have to prove a little bit more, right? Than you would if you had a marriage license. Okay. So a marriage license is also Greco-Roman. That also comes from Greece. It was also part of their system. You get what I'm saying? But also the marriage license was adapted because there were black men in this country who wanted to marry white women. And so since they wanted to do that, then they formed the marriage license, right? So that black man can go get a marriage license and marry this white woman, or the black woman could go get a marriage license and they would, be able to marry this white man. You get what I'm saying? So it was just paperwork to be able to prove that they have done so. But they adapted it for everybody because they saw that it was lucrative. They saw that they were making a lot of money off of it. So they adapted it for everybody to get a marriage license, right? Because they were making bank. They were making some good money off of it, right? They wanted to make more. So we can't associate those things. We got to keep it in proper context. And I really hope that this helps y'all. Man, listen, this is an extensive breakdown, right? We didn't broke down terminologies and everything. I really hope that this helps. I really hope that this sheds some light on some questions that a lot of you may have. And hopefully we can be able to bring some proper context. We can bring some real information in regards to biblical marriage and polygyny and also in monogamy. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. As long as the man is operating in his proper capacity, right? And he's doing it righteously, there's nothing wrong with it. You shouldn't condemn anybody to hell, especially if you can't read that in the text. If you can't read it explicitly, okay, I would not condemn anyone to it. Now, if they're suffering from certain things, okay, pray for them. But also at the same time, you know what the real issue is. I mean, the insults, the all this other stuff, right, is unnecessary. Because my thing is that the text in the scriptures, as we just proved, right, does not explicitly speak against it, not even once. Okay, you guys are just taking it out of context totally and completely, when you need to put it in its proper context, not only for the era that they lived in, but also what the intentions are with Paul's writings. Okay, also what Jesus was doing during that time, what Yahshua was doing during that time when quoting Genesis. Okay, they all kept the Old Testament. You understand what I'm saying? They would never speak against the Old Testament. Of course, the Most High Yah does not change. Okay, he's forever the same. And if he condemned polygyny due to the fallen state of man, okay, then he would have said that, because he's not the author of confusion. Okay, he would have said it. It would have been said not only by Jesus, Yahshua, or someone of the apostles. Somebody would have said that polygyny was condemned, or having a man having multiple wives was condemned, was done away with, was taken away, whatever it may be, right? But like I said, Paul's writings are confusing. Like Peter said, they're confusing, and many who are unread are who are unlearned, they will rest in that confusion. You understand what I'm saying? But Paul is speaking to those who know the law. You understand? So I really hope this has helped you guys out, man. I really appreciate you guys joining me for this premiere on polygyny. And yeah, tap in with me when we flock again. You already know that's coming up real soon. So, but bless y'all. We're gonna go ahead and sign out this thing. Hope, like I said, I really hope this is edifying to you guys, that it gave you guys a bit of an insight, a little bit of a deeper look as to what this truly is or whatnot. You understand what I mean? Like, hopefully we was able to clear up some confusion with the scriptures, because Paul and his writings, man, people get so confused with that, man. They use a lot of stuff, especially Christians and all this other stuff. They use a lot of writings from Paul, and they trip themselves up. They confuse a lot, and yeah, they complicate things, when they're not putting it in proper context. All right, y'all. And shout out to my boy Fates and Gates. Nothing personal, you know what I'm saying? But shout out to you. I just wanted to give you something to chew on and think about. Listen, you can rebuttal it. You can be able to give me point for point what you believe, what you think is wrong with what I gave you. But I'm hoping that this helps you as well, because there's a lot of people who say that they're hearing your teachings on this, and they're being kind of misled because of the context that you're teaching it in. You understand what I'm saying? It's just facts, it's just truth, and I'm just giving it to you. All right, this is a Worship Podcast, and I'm out. Peace.